So now next, this is a concept of seesaw. Okay, so we will talk about its application in the subsequent slides. Meanwhile, let's have a sort of game. So assume that you have weights of 50 kilo on one side and 100 kilo on another side of a seesaw. By the way, what is seesaw?
It's a plank where it's equally weighted. So if two people of the same weight sit on both the sides, then it stands like straight.
Okay,
And one is more than the other, then जिसका ज़्यादा weight है वो नीचे चला जाता है.
good, good. Great, Asta. I think that is what is the concept that we are trying to learn here. And we will solve a couple of questions and you will see the beauty of this method, that questions will be solvable within seconds if you understand this concept right. And this is the exact same concept that Astha has just iterated. So what happens is, see, this is a sort of weighing balance or like a seesaw, right? So if we have a person here, say person A, and if we have a person B here, okay, and both of them weigh 50 kg, okay, both of them weigh 50 kg, and this is the pivot. So this is that pivot or that hinge that is there, on to which left hand side we have some person and right hand side we have same person at the same distance. So what will happen to this straight line? Like towards which side will it tilt, or will it remain exactly same? It stays the same. Everyone like, you know, we have a weighing balance. Agar dono side pe we have same weight, then it has to remain same. Now, what if we have a person of say 100 kg here on the right hand side? It will lean towards this side, है ना? ये पूरा नीचे bend हो जाएगा. It will be something like this, right? This will go down, and the other person of 50 kg is going to fly out. Okay, okay. So now, so basically, concept is that the seesaw basically tilts towards the higher weight when pivot is at the exactly center. Okay, so now if I tell you that you have a person of 50 kg here and you have a person of 100 kg here, and then you have to balance the seesaw. I'll give 30 seconds to everyone. Try to think. You have a person of 50 kg on one side, you have a person of 100 kg on the other side. You have to balance the seesaw. What all ideas or what all solutions would you have to balance this seesaw? Correct. This is like a basic thing, right? यहाँ पे 100 है, यहाँ पे 50 है. You can add 50 kg here. यहाँ पे 50 अगर तुम add कर दोगे, then again it will be 100 and it's going to balance, right? This is one way of doing it. But agar if I'm saying you that you don't have any other external weight to be added on this balance, which means you cannot add any other balance, any other external weight to this balance, then what else can you do? Hint is you
shift
can,
the fulcrum to the right.
Shift the center. Okay, you can shift the center either towards left or towards right such that it balances. Now this is what you have to think, visualize, that whether it should be moved towards left or towards right. So I hope we all are in alignment that it has to move towards right, right? Which is the correct way. That it has to move towards right only. This gives us the basic concept. If now let us recall the class 11 physics, all the engineers, you would be able to understand this better. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to balance torque here. So this person is actually applying a force of mg here, and we have a distance here, right? So basically, if I talk about the center, if say this force is F1 or say this particular weight is say 50 kg, right? So 50 kg into, let's say this distance is say D1, and say let's say this distance is D2. Okay, so we know that 50 जो भी यहाँ पे weight assign हो रहा है, this 50 into D1 should be equals to this 100 ka weight into D2, because if we have to balance this particular seesaw, then torque or basically the force that is acting upon at the center has to be balanced. So 50 ka weight यहाँ पे है, 100 ka weight यहाँ है. So 50 into D1 should be equals to 100 into D2, and others you can understand this thing and remember. So what comes is D2 upon D1 has to be equals to 1/2. Okay, which is that D1 is equals to 2D2, which means this is going to shift towards right. Okay, if this entire distance is said D, and initially it was at D/2, so now कहाँ पे जाएगा ये? It will be at D/3. So this will be D/3, and this will be 2D/3. Okay, because total has to be D and ratio has to be 1:2. So वो 1:2 में भी आ गया, and it has to move towards right. So this is the concept. So we have, so ratio of the weight was 1:2 and ratio of the distance has to be 2:1, right? This is the summary or and the major learning out of this. That the ratio of the weight or ratio of these forces that were acting upon at two ends was were in the ratios of 1:2. So the distance from center has to be in the ratio of 2:1. So when they are multiplied, they yield the same torque at the center. Let's solve this particular question. Of course, it's very simple. The method that you know until now, कि weighted average ले लूंगा मैं, that is one way to solve it. But there is another way using the concept that we have just learned. So try and figure out that how can we use the concept that we have just learned on this question. Okay, you guys can try to solve. Meanwhile, I'll at least solve it by the traditional method. See, traditionally, what students would do here is they will be like, average cost price nikalni hai. Okay, I have to calculate average cost price. So what I will do is simply weighted average 68 into 50 plus 85 into 100 divided by 68 plus 85. Okay, that is like a very, very vanilla approach, which anyone who has graduated from class 10th to 11th and is writing CAT, this is what he'll do. But what you guys have to do is even slightly smarter approaches. See, you have to basically calculate the average cost price, right? So these are the variables that you have to consider, and this is the unit that you have to finally calculate, average cost price, which means the other entity, which is the weight, okay, or which is say like a quantity of apples. You can just take its ratio. So this is 68/85. You don't even have to have these big numbers. You can just take its ratio as 4 and 5, and then can simply say answer has to be 4 into 50 plus 5 into 100 upon 4 plus 5. Okay. So what I've done is 4 into 50 will give me total cost of apples plus total cost of apples from the second dealer upon total units of apple or total volume of apple. So this is nothing but 700 by 9. Okay, this is like a traditional method. Should not have taken you more than 10-15 seconds to solve this, even by the traditional method. Learning is we don't consider the entire numbers, we just take the ratios so that it helps us in the simplification. Now method 2 is the one that we will be using going forward. So pay your full attention. And this is called as distance method. So see, you have one average here, okay? So one of the average that is given to you is 50 rupees per kg, and the second average that is given to you is 100 rupees per kg, okay? And then you're given some quantity. 50 wale ka you have how many units? You have 68 units, okay? And 100 rupees wala jo apples hai, uska you have 85 units because you have 85 kg of apples for this particular entity. So step number 1, what is it that you have to calculate? You have to calculate the average cost price. So can I very safely say that the average cost price, like it does not matter what the quantities are, but the average cost price has to be between 50 and 100. Fair statement? Everyone agrees, right? The average cost price has to be between 50 and 100. My 50 and 100, if I'm taking a mixture, average has to lie between them, which means average has to lie somewhere between there. I don't exactly know which side hoga, which side will it be, but it has to lie somewhere between these quantities, okay? And this is sitting at 50 and this is actually sitting at 100. So in total, I have a distance of how much? In total, I have a distance of 50 units in between them. And these 50 units have to be now balanced in such a manner that these entities are equal, because I have to calculate average cost price. So I know that ratio of the weights on both the sides are what? 68:85, which is what? 4:5. So basically quantity ratio is 4:5. So we have just learned that the distance ratio has to be the inverse of it, which is 5:4. Okay. If it is 5:4 and I have a total distance of 50 between these two entities, so मेरा central point कहाँ पे आएगा? Central point will be at a distance of 50 से कितना आगे होगा? it has to be at a ratio of 5:4. So this distance will be nothing but 5/9 into 50. Okay, so this is going to be my average price, which is nothing but, I can say it is actually 250/9 units away from 50. So it is 50 plus 250/9, which is nothing but 700/9. You could have also done that this is 5/9 from this. So you guys could have also done that this is 4/9 units from here. So answer would be 100 minus 4/9 into 100. Sorry, into 50, because distance is actually 50 in between them. So this is also 700/9. It's a very important method. So is this, matlab, maybe take your time, note it down and understand ki what is it that I've done. I had to calculate the average price. So it has to be between 50 and 100, which means 50 and 100 are my distance points. This is 50, this is 100. In total, I have a distance of 50 units in between them. And the other entity is the quantity. So quantity ka ratio is 4:5. So distance ka ratio has to be 5:4. So 5/9 into total distance is 50. You just add it to the lower quantity, which is 50. So moving to the next question. And this is what we have to apply going forward. No one will apply the traditional method in this question, else you will not learn anything out of this workshop. Yeah. So see, what was given to me? It's again going to be an oral question now. See, batch 1, we have 35 students in batch 1. Okay. Batch 2, we have 45 students. Average of batch 1 is 60 marks. And average of batch 2 is 70 marks. I have to calculate the net average. Okay. Which means I'll plot a distance line. Average has to be between 60 and 70. One of the edge is 60, one of the edge is 70. Okay. Now I have to, so distance between them is 10 units. I have to divide this 10 unit into some ratio. That ratio will be the inverse ratio of the quantities. So ratio of the quantities were 35:45, which is 7:9. So ratio of the distance will be 9:7. Okay. So it will be 9/16 into the distance, which is 10 units. So 90/16 will be added to the lower limit, which is 60. So 60 plus 90/16 will be my answer. You have to find the average. Take the average as your distance line. 60, 70, it has to be between these. Total distance is 10 units. Divide these 10 units in the inverse ratio of the quantities, which is 35:45. So 7:9. So 9:7. So 9/16 into 10 plus 60 units. You can't forget to not reverse the ratios, else answers will be wrong. It should be clear. Distance has to be the inverse of the quantities. So moving further, this question. Although you can solve it by the traditional method, I would be very happy to see someone solving this question using the distance method. He basically considered water as 100%. But I think what I would have, one of an alternative way, which probably is slightly faster. And what you do is, okay, so it is given to you that a solution of milk and water contains 30% milk by concentration. Okay, which means the first solution that you have has 30% milk concentration. Okay. And if you add 20 ml of water into it, okay, so 20 ml of water basically means it has what, 0% concentration, because a concentration का मतलब होता है कि इसके अंदर milk कितना percent है, what is the contribution of milk in that concentration. So if it is pure water, it has absolutely no milk in it, so it is 0% concentration. So essentially you're adding these two quantities, and final concentration is basically coming out to be 24%. So until now, we basically used to calculate these averages, but here average is already given. Okay. And so which means these are the points of distance, right? So D1 is to D2 here is nothing but 30 minus 24 is 6. 24 minus 0 is 24. So ratio of the distance is 1:4. So ratio of the quantity has to be 4:1. Okay. Which means this, if this is 1 unit, this has to be 4 units. And this is given to you that this is nothing but 20 ml. Okay, this is 20 ml. So if this is 20 ml, this has to be 80 ml. If this is 80 ml, you have to find the initial quantity of milk and water. So milk is 30% of 80, which is 24 ml, and 70%, which is 56 ml is water. If this is clear, then you should be able to apply this method.
Okay. So left side weight 3, right side weight 4. 3:4. Okay, and it is given ki mixture is being sold at ₹28 and 40% profit. So the cost price will be 20 rupees, at which the mixture is being sold. 28 by 1.4, 20. Yeah. So the middle is 20.
Good.
So 4:3 का ratio होगा. So here 4 on the left side, 4 का distance आ रहा है. फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड के वैरायटी में 7 यूनिट्स का आ रहा है.
Okay.
तो
निकालना क्या तुमको? Find cost price of first variety निकालना है, ठीक है?
Yes.
Try to assume it as x and then proceed. तो यहाँ पे x कहाँ पे होगा?
X left side.
And what will this be?
This is x plus 3.
This is x plus 3, right?
Yes.
So now, can I make any equation? Distance ratio is given to me 4:3. So what will be my equation?
X by x plus 3 is equals to...
No. It is distance from 20, right? This distance is what you have to calculate, Ankur. So it will be what? X plus 3 minus 20 is this distance?
Yes.
Upon 20 minus x?
20 minus x.
And this should be equals to what?
3 by 4.
3 by 4. Very good. You just solve this, you will get x equals to 128 by 7. No, this will be 3 by 4, right? Because this is the distance on the numerator and ratio of the quantities are 3:4. So ratio of the distance has to be 4 by 3, but 4 is this and 3 is this. So I'm taking this by that. So it is 3 by 4. This is nothing but 12 minus 12 by 7. 20 minus 12 by 7. So one another way, अगर ये पूरा solve नहीं करना है तो अंकुर, you have figured out that difference between these is what? If this is 4 and this is 3, this is 4:3, right? So in total 7 units हो गया, right? So 7 units basically it corresponds to 3 rupees 3.
Yes.
Right? 7 units correspond to rupees 3. So you know x is what? 20 minus 4 units. So 20 minus 4 unit. So 4 units will be what? If 7 unit is 3, 1 unit is 3 by 7. So 4 unit will be what? 12 by 7. Next question. Well, now start solving it in like 15-20 seconds so that we all feel equally. It is basically total 150 students here. So total quantity is 150. Okay. So if you somehow manage to get the ratio of the distances, you can take the inverse. You can calculate the ratio of the quantities. If you know the ratio of the quantities, you will be able to find the number of boys or number of girls because you know the total number of students. Which means what needs to be plotted on this distance? You know, you have two variables, boys and girls. So if you would have collected the amount, okay, let's say all the 150 students are boys, then what will be their contribution? 1.2 into 150. Correct? So it will be 180 if I have all the boys, and if I have all the girls, it will be 1.4 into 150, which is what? Kitna hota hai? 150 plus 60, it is 210. So if I have all the girls, their contribution will be 210. If I have all the boys, their contribution will be 180. Now I know I have a mix of it, and hence my contribution is what? 194.
194.
Now can you apply it, Rakshit? So this distance is what? 14.
Yes.
This is 16. So ratio of the distance is 7:8. So ratio of the quantities will be 8:7.
8:7. Yes.
So
8/15 into.
no, you have to calculate girls. So girls will be 7.
Okay.
So 7/15 into 150. So total 70 girls. See, average has to be between two entities. So what two entities has to be extreme. If I have all of one versus if I have all of others, and then you can apply distance. So next question. Come on. Exactly same variant. Here you have to be very careful about the units. I'm sure you all would have started with the ratio of speed. Okay. It is 40, 55, and in the center it is 47.5. So ratio of the speeds are 1:1. Yeah, Divya, go on.
So on the line, I kept here like the bus traveled in 6 hours, 40 into 6, 240 kilometers.
Okay. You're doing distance here.
Yes. 40, and at this side it will be 55 into 6, 330.
How much will it be?
330.
330. Okay.
Then at the middle it will be 285.
Okay.
So got the ratio of 1:1.
Okay.
And then I thought it will be the same distance traveled, so just divided by 2. But I think it's not the case.
Now, so one thing that you must have noticed is that we used to inverse the ratios, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it means if we apply distance is equals to speed into time, we know if distance is constant, only speed and time are those two entities which are inverse of each other. Okay. Which means you cannot take distance here, because if you inverse it, you will not get anything. You will neither get speed, you will not get time. So you cannot inverse it, which means you will have to start with say speed, because speed is given to you. So it is given to you that if it travels by bus, it is 40. If it travels by train, it is 55. And
55.
actual speed is what? 285 by 6?
47.5.
47.5. So again, this ratio is what? 1:1. So now inverse ratio will also be 1:1. And inverse
So the
ratio
time will be
reflect
1:1.
time, which means total time is 6 hours. So 3 hours he will travel by bus and 3 hours he'll travel by train. So distance traveled by the person by bus will be 40 into 3. Speed is 40, time is 3. So 40 into 3 is 120. So let's move on to the next question.
So sir, मैंने line पे actually 0.9 लिया था, which is 1 unit. 1 unit is sold at 0.9.
Wait, so ठीक है, हमसे क्या पूछा है? What profit percentage should he sell the remaining to gain 20% of the overall? Okay, 1/3 को वो 10% loss में बेचता है. Okay.
हाँ.
And overall he wants a profit of 20%.
Yes sir.
ठीक है. Yeah, Yash.
So on the left hand side I took 0.9 and 1 unit.
Why 0.9?
मतलब 10% loss है तो I considered like 0.9 would be the.
But why do you have to go into selling price? पूछा क्या तुमसे? Yash, profit percentage ही पूछा है?
Yes.
So let's try to stick to the unit that we have to calculate. तो left hand side में कितना आएगा profit percentage?
-10.
Very good. This is -10. Overall कितना है?
+20.
+20. And this is what you have to calculate, right? Let's say this
Yes.
X. Okay. And
Yes. And the ratio is 1:2.
quantity का ratio कितना है?
1:2.
1:2. So distance का ratio कितना होगा?
2:1.
2:1. So what will be my equation? This is a distance of what? 30.
30.
This
Yes.
is the distance of x minus 20. So 30 upon x minus 20 should be equals to
2:1.
which means x must be 35. बहुत ही सिंपल मेथड है, इसको बिल्कुल भी कॉम्प्लिकेट नहीं करना है. जो पूछा है वही लेने का है. All the cricket fans. Exactly same मेथड लगाना है. इनिशियल एवरेज कितना था, एक दूसरे मैच में एवरेज कितना है, उसके बाद क्यूमुलेटिव एवरेज कितना होगा. If you guys really want to crack crack CAT, तो make sure जो भी नया सिखाया है you learn it. You are not hell bent on only solving by the traditional method. Quant mein you will have to solve a lot of questions. So without learning, it will be difficult. So what is the initial average, Nandini? Okay, so what is the initial average?
14.8.
14.8 is the initial average. In the next match, what is the average? Averages in terms of
6
runs
point.
per wicket. So it is
Yeah.
6.4, right? And what is the normal? What is the overall average? His bowling average improves by 0.3 runs per wicket, right? Which means initially it was 14.8.
15.1.
No. Should it be plus or should it be -3? See, for a bowler, he has to give less runs per wicket, right? As in, for a particular bowler to be good, he has to give less runs per wicket, right? एक wicket होने पे उसको कम runs देने, because he is a bowler. His average is
Oh,
so lower the number, better he is.
yeah.
So average will be what? 14.5, because it is reducing,
5.
it is improving by 0.3, right?
Yes.
तो यहाँ पे कितना आ रहा है रेशियो?
ये
0.3
0.3 और ये
8.1.
8.1.
is 1:27. Okay.
Hmm.
Now निकालने के find the number of wickets taken by him until the last match. यहाँ पे number of wickets is what you have to calculate, right? What is the number of wickets here? He takes how many wickets?
10.
10. Okay. So ratio of distance was 1:27. So ratio of quantities will be 27:1.
Yes.
If this is 10, 1 is 10, this has to be what? 270.
270.
Here, see, निकालना क्या है? Find the number of wickets taken by him until the last match. Okay, which means initially. So only thing that I am given is 14.8 runs per wicket is the average. So I would assume, let's say he takes X number of wickets. Okay, so total number of runs that he is given is 14.8x. 14.8 runs per wicket into total number of wickets is 14.8 runs. Is 14.8 into X runs is what he is given earlier. Okay, plus in the second match he is given 64 more runs, so I will just add 64. Okay, and overall it is given to me that his bowling average improves by 0.3 runs, which means the final bowling average is what? It is 14.5 because it is improving. So by the same logic, it is 14.5 runs per wicket is the average, but we have to calculate runs because this is runs, this is runs. So we have to multiply this bowling average by total number of wickets. Okay, so total number of wickets कितने हुए? Initially X wickets थे. Initially it was X wickets, and in the second match he has taken 10 more wickets. So it will be X plus 10. And if you solve this, you will get X is equals to 270. Okay, so I think we have solved enough questions. How many of you are